Meeting to order at, we'll call it 6:31. Kathy Lee, could you please take the roll call?
Yeah, Arbaugh, present. Haley Hutton, Billy Hutton, David Gallops.
He called and told me he would not make it tonight, so.
Okay, Eric Polash,
Here.
John Split,
Here,
Terry Robita,
Here.
Sarah Willett.
Here.
so we do have a quorum, which is great. We need a motion to approve the agenda.
I approve as it is.
A second?
Motion by Eric, second by Sarah to approve tonight's agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of past minutes. And I will chime in on that because at our last council meeting, it was brought to our attention that there is a mistake in our minutes.
That's impossible.
Well, I'm sorry. It's gonna surprise Steve, because I know his wife is perfect. The 119 Watson Street, the April minutes, it says Publix, P-U-B-L-I-X, house, it is just public house.
It's for April 6th and what?
Yeah, it's on the 119 Watson Street, so it's probably on
Oh,
page 2.
so it's public.
Public with a C. That is the only correction that I'm aware of.
I don't know how I got public.
So
anyway.
I'll make a motion to approve the past minutes with that correction.
I'll second.
Motion and a second by Terry to approve the past minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Financial report has not changed.
Hey,
It's $4,657.82. And again, I suggest, okay, I suggest
hasn't
we
changed.
use it,
yeah,
or part of it soon, and I think we will.
we have an opportunity for that with the
Yes.
kid.
Yes,
Who was the second? You?
I'll second.
Sarah, yes.
Thanks, Kathy.
Motion by Eric to approve, second by Sarah. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Public comments. Anybody wish to make a public comment?
I love you, man.
Okay,
Moving on.
moving on quickly. Number 7, certificate of appropriateness applications. We have the window graphics for 123 Watson Street. And it is a new business moving in there, as far as I can tell. It is 3-foot by 3-foot window graphics on center windows of both Watson Street and Scott Street, and there should be a picture.
Is that across from you, Sarah?
Yep.
And are you Patina? Or is this a different one?
Jesus.
You're the same. Oh, they are different. Wow, that's incredible. I mean, how often do you get that?
And no, not
Well,
very often.
has anybody had any discussion about that?
About the signage?
A company or a store that moves in with almost the same name across the street from an existing one?
I personally don't know if we can,
Well,
I know.
Without talking to Lud, I don't know either, but
right.
that was my first thought
That was
when I
my
saw
first
this.
thought also.
Well, I never thought of it.
Oh,
Yeah,
Of course.
because they were the ones that contacted John about his building, contacted me whether or not I was gonna stay.
oh, that, see, I never
That's
knew
who
that.
it was.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Did you voice
An opinion?
no, not
Yes.
an opinion, but mention to anyone that is kind of too close to home?
I have, Kathy Lee. I'll just say this. I'm a community-minded entrepreneur who is so excited about Ripon and what's happening down here. That's why we're all here.
Right?
Mhm.
I wouldn't have guessed this would have been something that I had to deal with.
Me, I had to look Patina up when you came.
You did.
I didn't know what, I mean, I knew what patina was with an old piece of furniture or whatever,
Yeah.
but I liked your smashing together
Thank
thing.
you.
Mhm.
I only want well for everybody that's willing to invest and support our community in any way that they can, especially a storefront. It's exciting. You know, that fosters additional people, foot traffic, I'm all in. I've told Craig, it kinda hurts my heart a little bit.
I
I'm
would
feeling a
say.
little sad.
Mhm.
But I'm a big girl, and I've gutted out our company. I started from my garage 10 years ago with blood, sweat, and tears, and we've built it into a global business. I'm so lucky to say that Ripon's our home base. So it just feels a little close for comfort, but I don't want to stand in the way of anyone else's livelihood. I'm just looking for healthy conversation from my fellow community members, not for this particular situation, because we can all rise above that, but for future. The example I used, I've been chatting with Craig a little bit on the side, but what if somebody bought the American House and put in front porch gatherings? What would we do as a community?
Rather than back porch.
Right.
I'm just using an extreme example
That'd be
for
fun.
conversation.
Mhm.
Or what if somebody bought the Kmart and put in groceries by Webster? We would all think that's just ridiculous.
Mhm.
Well, it's how I feel, because it's our brand name. So
Yeah.
I don't wanna stand in the way of this business to thrive. It just feels ironically close to home.
Does anyone know if it is a new, Greg,
Well, I'd like to ask
do
Craig.
you know if it's a new company or if it's existing?
If I recall, the Ripon Commonwealth, it's been in business for 11 years.
Yes.
So it's,
So-
So
Yeah.
they didn't just
No,
Are
it
they from
wasn't.
Fond du Lac? Is
pick
that-
it up?
she's from, her dad or her parents have a place up between, here in Berlin, Kettles and Plows. So I think she's been in more of like a mall setting or like a antique mall or that kind of thing.
Sure. It's a head scratcher, you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
if I remove myself from being in the middle of it, because I don't like drama, I just want
I like a
excitement.
little drama now and then.
I don't care, I'm too tired for it, Kathy Lee. So if I can take myself out of the equation and then just look at the bigger picture for Ripon, how can we as a group that cares about our entrepreneurs and our businesses have a healthy conversation so that someone who's maybe not as strong and see above it as I'm hoping to be about the
Mhm.
whole situation, how can we support our current businesses? And I don't know what the answer is. It's a predicament.
Mhm.
Well,
There's gonna be a
since
lot
they
of-
have
A
been
lot of
around,
questions, there's gonna be a lot of questions and answers. I mean, people are gonna continuously ask you that.
And you
Yeah.
guys, I'm trying to run a business. The last thing I need is for every woman to walk into my shop, just like you
Controversy.
hit it perfectly. Is that you? Yeah. No? Yeah? I don't have time to
I
field those
wouldn't have
questions.
known, yeah.
Craig, you said 11 years under that name.
I thought it was 2 years under that name, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
okay, it's irrelevant.
I have a question for
It's not
Adam.
irrelevant.
Yeah.
I agree.
Does the city have any thing to say about naming businesses or what businesses can come in or can't come in?
Yeah, I was wondering that about it, the display manual or the design manual? Is there anything written about it in there?
No,
nothing.
I don't think so.
You know, I think, I think,
There would have to be something in
terms
case
of-
it was offensive or something. I mean,
Yeah,
there'd have to be
definitely
some language,
profanity, we
there'd have to
can't-
be some
yeah.
language somewhere for something.
Mhm.
there's, you know, this happens with businesses, with naming, with copyrights, with trademarks, it happens all the time.
Mhm.
And it really is, the onus is on the business to stand up for their brand and what they have, a lot of times. And that's why, you know, if you name something, you may get a letter in the mail saying, rename your something.
Mhm.
Right.
The cities, you know, can't control what somebody names something. We can control signage to a point, but if it's the name of the business on the sign, you know, we can't, that's beyond our scope. In terms of use or anything of that nature, it's an allowable use from the zoning perspective. So, this really comes down to, you know, more of the private side of it and having a conversation with the with the new business coming in, that, you know, similar to what Sarah's saying, you know, welcome,
Mhm.
you know, but the first thing I read, when I read the paper about this, I called Craig and asked him, has anybody had a conversation about this? Because it's a little, you know,
It's too close for comfort.
but
It is,
in
yeah.
terms of regulation wise, there's not anything the city has on the books that says you can't
Mhm.
name.
Did anyone, who's this chickie? Kelly O'Brien, did anybody talk to her?
That would be up.
I did not.
It's just, it's not, there's no protocol for this situation. I mean, we're all
It would be
adults
worth a
Right.
conversation to me, though.
and-
Yeah,
From whom?
Yeah, it depends on
From
your
whom?
position, yeah.
I don't
So
know.
I'll say, I'll throw in, I'm not even on the board, I've done a lot in marketing, I've done a lot of trademark marketing and branding.
naming, yeah.
A lot of branding and a lot of marketing, a lot of naming of products and services, a lot of naming of companies. And every word in the English language is trademarked somewhere for every business application.
That's why
somewhere.
companies use these weird.
Yeah, I don't know if this is trademark registered, yours obviously is trademark registered. And, you know, if it was an issue for you, you probably would have to send them see a lawyer, trademark attorney, and send them a cease and desist letter to using that brand name, but that's your choice. I don't think the city would be right
Correct,
yeah.
and be involved in that. It's a
Yeah.
business to business issue.
Yes.
B2B, babe.
Yes, and as an entrepreneur that started from zero, and is so
You didn't
grateful.
have to start at zero, weren't you at Tracy's?
That's-
For a long time.
That's.
Weren't you her buyer? I
Lots
mean,
of layers there, Kathy Lee.
Lots of layers.
Not enough alcohol.
Lot of makeup, lot of layers, okay. Well, I
But it
guess
would
if
be
you
your
don't wanna
choice,
say
and you're
anything-
choosing the high road, so.
And I think I've talked to lots of my colleagues, and, you know, this has kind of dominated my week. Unfortunately, knowing that this was coming up tonight for a vote, I just wanted to just think this through thoroughly. I need to take the high road because any action that I might take tonight, I want it to feel good to all of us 5 months from now, 5 years from now. But I'm hoping that I can at least stir conversation so that we're prepared as a city, as a team, if this were to come up again with someone who maybe doesn't have the perspective that I'm trying to
I
have.
had to tell you, I had to change my company name 3 times because of this sort of thing. You know, like, I wanted to use the number 5 and then write out 12, taken. I wanted to write out 5 and then use the number 12,
Right.
taken.
Right.
So it took me many,
But I don't think this is an example of that, you know. Patina V is obviously, I'm globally trademarked because we sell our goods around the world. The amount of money I've spent to make sure that we are protected from getting ripped off in other countries is extraordinary. It never crossed my mind I would have a brick and mortar 50 yards from my front door.
Right, the proximity.
That has been, that's gonna be my problem.
Yeah.
I think you're too nice. Honestly, you're just divine. I can't come near it, so I can't relate. If it's mine, and I want it.
And I wanna be, you know, fierce with grace. That's how you move forward in life. You just have to be strong and deliver it in a lovely way. And I wanna be part of this community. I don't wanna create any enemies, but it makes me feel really bad.
Yeah.
It makes me question my participation in the community. And what a shame that this woman makes me feel that way.
Yeah.
We've moved
Right.
mountains as a company, as a
Yeah.
business, you know, I employ 9 full-time people in the area. And it swells to 16 during the season. I'm really proud of that. All girls,
Babe power.
pretty cool, you know, and it just makes me feel bad that this situation is causing me to question things. But again, how can we
Yeah, who-
stir up the conversation?
Who would she talk to?
A trademark attorney, if that was the case.
And
But
then-
It's
I
not that
wonder-
you're
situation.
choosing the high road, so.
I wonder if it's something that we as a commission, or myself, because I'm chairman, if I would call this Kelly O'Brien and explain our dilemma and see what kind of answers I get. I mean, I'd be willing to do that.
Maybe you would just, you know, if you could put something into words on paper and
Mhm.
kind of tell us where this came from, and
Right,
it's an obvious conflict of interest, if nothing else.
because we're gonna have another meeting in 2 weeks again. We'll have our regular June
Great.
meeting. So,
I'm all for
that
that.
would give,
I think it's
it
silly.
would give her time to to think about it and to come to the next meeting and voice her opinion on it, if we would,
What if she's as sweet as you? Won't that be crazy? You guys are like, I don't wanna say anything, I don't wanna say anything.
I think it's a trade dress confusion issue. And again, to Terry's point, it's all fine to sit here now and we can all laugh. I mean, I can even chuckle about this, you guys. It's
Mhm.
ridiculous that we're having this conversation. But it's really gonna come down to me and all these girls coming in my shop asking the question. And I want any entrepreneur that comes to Ripon to feel welcomed and supported by her fellow store owners.
Mhm.
We do it to everybody. You know, I take a bottle of wine and I welcome to everybody that comes into town. It's what we do. I'm gonna have a hard time welcoming her, and I feel bad.
Mhm.
It just feels like it's,
I don't feel
We've
bad.
already had questions.
You're
They were
Yeah.
asking if you were expanding across the street. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just, you know, people come in because
Right.
they hear. and-
Well, and Ripon's booming, so
Right.
why wouldn't you?
well, and why is it
Well,
booming?
and one of the reasons,
Why
because
is it
back
booming?
porch expanded across the street, so Sol Patina, they thought, oh, she's expanding across the street.
Hmm.
So John, if you'd be willing, I don't know what my goal would be, other than to kind of force her to justify the move, and then to also anticipate what this will mean if she holds her ground and comes
Mhm.
in for a community to welcome her. Is she good? Is she good? Is that gonna feel good?
Right,
And if she is, then I know what I'm dealing with and I can
you can, yeah.
manage.
I'd be happy to call.
But if anybody has any moments of clarity or wisdom that you can share with me, I am all ears, because this is one I have not come across
I have
before
a
in my
bunch of
life.
questions. Craig, did these people rent through you? So it's through Tom?
No, it's not.
Tom doesn't own the
Tom
building.
doesn't own the
They
building.
sold the
He sold
building.
the
That was
building.
sold.
Yeah.
Who owns it?
Chris Johnson.
Chris Johnson does, I believe the paper said.
So maybe, did Chris Johnson think about it?
You know, and usually when an entrepreneur meets with a property owner, we're dealing as Kathy Lee and Craig T-Bone, as Terry Robita and Kathy Lee. It's not, you know, a lot of times the last thing that comes up is the name of the business that ends up being on the contract at the end. And sometimes the name of the business is on it, a lot of times the name is not on the contract because you don't, you know, I don't know,
Well,
it just kind of depends.
Well, cause like mine isn't, I'm a sole proprietor, I didn't LLC or anything, so the legal name is Terry Robita, DBA, Honest and True,
Sure,
Mhm.
so.
yeah.
I wouldn't even know, I guess you're right about the lawyer, maybe.
If that's what she wants to do.
I don't think there's a win-win out of that. I don't wanna shut her business down. My
Well, you
problem-
don't wanna shut a business down, but to be educated and know where your rights are and moving forward, how should it be handled? A lawyer could help us with that.
I think the easiest and amazing thing to happen would be if she were to be approached and she would consider changing her trade dress for her brick and mortar. Something that simple. If she's been going by Sol Patina for years, God bless her. But for her brick and mortar, which is part of our community, wouldn't it be great if it was called Sol Vintage or Sol, you know, I'm just kind of spitballing here, trying to find a gracious way to suggest options for her to consider.
All right, I just wanna clarify.
All right, cause
I
like you're
don't think
saying,
I'm being ungracious because I'm asking questions, I'm just wanting to do what's right, and if you don't know, you have to ask questions, I mean, I don't know, that's my
cause if
thought.
she's still doing other stuff, other Sol Patina, then like you said, the brick and mortar can be called Sol whatever. And it's
Yeah.
owned by Sol Patina.
Yeah,
and,
rock
okay,
on,
right.
more power to you, girlfriend.
Mhm.
Put some bread on your table for your family, that's the
Mhm.
American dream, but it just feels a little close for comfort in a small community where we happen to be a very centralized visual business.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess we could have a motion to table this till our June meeting, and I will definitely give her a call and get her thoughts on it.
So moved.
Eric, do you think it's his place to do that?
One second, Kathy, we have a motion,
Oh, I'm sorry.
and then we can have discussion if there's a second.
I don't know what's,
Is there a second?
I don't know.
I'll second.
Terry seconds. Okay, we can discuss.
I was just curious if it's wise for you to get involved in it.
Well, this application came to us, and everybody on the committee had this epiphany that it's too close to home for the Patina V. So, I guess being the one that decides on the sign, or the commission that decides on the sign, I could call. And if I get nowhere, then I'll call Adam or Craig. And we'll see, we'll talk. If you're not in favor of that, that's fine. Just,
I don't know, are you in favor of it? She seems to be, holding her reins pretty tight there.
This other gal?
No,
Or me?
you, just not to wanna make any waves.
No, I'm rattled, Kathy Lee.
Hmm.
My heart hurts. I feel very vulnerable,
Okay. I guess you should. then.
where I would love my community to just offer support. Again, I don't wanna do it at the expense of another person's livelihood, but I think a conversation, not only for this moment, but for us as a team, to know how to manage the next time something odd comes up. To me, that's just being curious, thoughtful business people.
I agree.
I think instead of just rubber stamping it, I think it pays to ask a couple questions.
yeah, and I will
Right.
definitely invite her to our next meeting.
But she obviously would have been invited to this one.
Yes, I mean, she should have been knowing that, you know, she could come to this one and show us that, and explain it in
Well,
colors.
it's pretty
and, you know.
rare though, when people don't really come in very often. Sarah,
Yeah,
did you?
some do,
I
I'd
guess
say
it
it's
would-
50-50.
I sure
It would
did.
even be
Did
worth
you?
asking a question, if you get a chance, John, to ask Lud, you know, is this within the realms of what we should even be discussing or
Right.
not?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what makes me
Yeah.
nervous.
That goes back
Okay.
to one question I had. So when they fill it out, I know a couple people that they figured that they had to fill out the form and that was it. They didn't have to show up to do
Show up,
anything.
yeah.
I don't know if that's if that information's getting to them, so.
Yeah.
Well, what
Well,
we should
she drives
do then
past her new
is,
space, crap.
My
You
assumption
can't see
on
some-
these, because Adam does a good job taking care of all of his customers, my assumption is that they went to Adam to get the graphics done
Mhm.
and whatever, and Adam knows he has to go through all of this for the permit and stuff.
Right.
So whether he tells his customer, he probably is just
And he didn't
being very
advise.
proficient at what he does and is handling it.
Mhm.
So there very well may have been that she did not know
well,
Yeah.
about coming. I'm sure it's just Adam taking care of it and doing what he
Yeah.
needs to do to put the signs up.
that's good. I mean, this is a good discussion. Maybe when we get our packet, I, as the preservation chairman, should look at it and go, well, I better give Kelly a call. And I better give so-and-so a call and invite them if they wanna come. I can start doing that.
Or
Well-
or the other option would be just like, I mean, we basically have two sign people in town here that
Mhm.
we could, that probably do the lion's share of these applications anyways. We could probably just inform them, hey, it might not be a bad idea that you just let your customer know
No.
that this is up for some sort of an approval, if you wanna attend the meeting, just some sort of notice that he gives to his people.
Just in case there's any questions that they're here to, they can answer.
Right.
Because, one of the complaints was that, it's been taking long for people to get approval. Well, I had a few discussions with some of them. I said, well, I can show you exactly when your stuff came across our table, so
Mhm.
it's not that point.
I'm pretty
But
good,
if they can't answer the questions and we have to table it, there's a lost
Right.
chance to get it approved
Mhm.
again.
So we do have a motion to
And a
table and a
second.
second
Ask
by
a couple
Terry to
questions,
table.
Or-
Any more discussion? All those in favor to table, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries to table it.
I mean, along the lines of, how could you drive through a town? Hello. You have a big sign, you're on the corner. And, not to be too braggadocious about your company, but why do you think she heard of us? Why do you think she's coming here? Not to be negative, It's just facts. In my humble opinion.
Okay.
Humble but too loud.
Number 8 is the Facebook page, the Haas Brewery Stable. I check it every so often, and it's
Well,
great.
and like I said, you know, we couldn't market it because it was deemed an ad by Facebook, so it was shot down. But we did forward it and share it with everybody that's on the Ripon Historical Society's Facebook page, which is, you know, almost a couple of thousand people now. And it's getting a lot of likes and it's getting a lot of notice, but we're not really actively marketing the page.
Mhm.
And hopefully
Can you
it'll.
explain the project to me just a little bit more? I came in last month and I would love just a little snapshot
Sure.
of what you're doing.
The city, would like to save the Haas Brewery Barn down the hill
Yes.
from here. And so they asked to put it on the Historic Preservation Commission's Facebook page or social media, just to sort of
We didn't have
broadcast it.
one, so Steve created it.
And ask if people would be interested in purchasing. So that's really the, sort of the visibility we've tried to create.
Understood.
It was
Yeah.
kind of tabled also because they had an interested person.
Yeah, there was somebody interested, I don't know.
But we might, you know,
Gone any farther, or-
take off again.
Yeah, yeah, so they're just, the contact person is me, so I get the calls and I talk it through with people. And I think there's probably been 4 or 5 phone calls. All of them relatively serious, but, you know, as soon as they start looking into it a little bit more, I think they get a little skittish, just because there are some issues, but we're showing it this week to somebody who might wanna do something with it, so, there's definitely, you know, as soon as somebody, after the last meeting, did something on Facebook, in like 4 days, I had like 2 calls, 3 calls, so
Right.
it's out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know.
which is nice.
And we created a press release. We're just trying to create some interest to save the building, so it
It's,
doesn't get
it's
talked
a
about.
nostalgic, fabulous cause. That's great.
Mhm.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay. American House, I have no information on that.
Have you heard anything, Mr. Capon?
Mhm.
What have you heard?
Can't say.
Here now. Okay.
I'll take that as there's some interest in it, and hopefully,
Well, he's
It'll-
dreaming.
it'll-
I'd rather be honest with you and
Yeah.
tell you that there is interest, but that's all I can say.
Enough said, do not compromise yourself.
Eagle Scout project.
Okay, just real quickly, Ethan isn't here this evening, but the Eagle Scout project, and I can explain it to you, Eric, because I haven't seen you. We have a Boy Scout here locally that is developing additional signage for historic buildings downtown Ripon, similar to the ones that are already in place, but not only updating them, coming up with a different material and assigning a QR code so people can learn more about the historic buildings. And that QR code will be embedded in the Historical Society website, so there'll be more information about the buildings. And Skip has volunteered to work with us to create short clip videos about each building.
That's great.
And we're not going to list all of the current owners of the buildings as we did in the past. You guys voted to list the original use and the date the buildings were built, because it's too hard to keep up with the turnover of ownership and
Yeah.
proprietors. So Ethan has made great progress. He's working on the final design comps, which he'll have finished and will bring to you for your approval. We did talk to Ted, and Ted advised that the chamber and the council did not want to see the signs, that the approval rested here with the Historic Preservation Committee only. So we didn't
Is that true?
necessarily,
I thought they had to do it or see it.
they opted out because they felt that you guys were approving it, and
Yeah.
it's an update of an existing program.
I got it.
So he wasn't presenting a new program. He is also soliciting donations to pay for the signs, and I need to speak to you about that briefly tonight. He has a goal of raising $2,000, but instead of all that being paid by the Preservation Commission, he's actually approached the Historical Society for a donation. We put it in our newsletter to send out to all members this past week, asking for them to donate to the Scout Project. He's approaching Tom and Debbie Rogers separately because he does have a sign for the Mapes building for their approval. And he's approaching Webster's because he works there and they have a grant and they feel that they might donate something to his project. And he also is going to be presenting to the Rotary on June 7th. So what Ethan would like to ask is His goal is $2,000. Could you guys talk amongst yourself and decide as a board if you can contribute and how much you can contribute? But we also want to communicate to you collectively that you don't have to foot that entire bill. Nobody's looking for you to support that entirely. So that's for consideration.
And I don't think we were volunteered to support it
Well, no.
solely.
No, I thought maybe you guys were going to do it before he.
No, we were gonna do it, but nothing like the kid did.
Right,
I mean, it was much different.
right. And so, so if you see your way or see fit that you can donate, he'll be asking you for a donation to cover that. And the monies are all the scouts have asked the money to be sent to the Historical Society. They're collecting the money and putting it in their 501c3 nonprofit, and they're gonna allocate the funds and pay the signage being developed and everything that has to be put into place for him.
And he has some like end user companies and stuff he's gonna,
He has three commercial or business companies that he's approaching as well.
yeah.
And he still has an implementation date of the end of June, and he hopes to obtain his,
He better shake his booty.
he's moving, there's just a lot of pieces and parts, simultaneous steps. And then he's also hoping that, he'll be receiving his merit award in October.
Great.
So he has a little bit of a grace period between June and October,
Yeah,
okay? So I know that's rambling, but that's his update.
no, that's good, thank you, Steve.
What do you guys think?
Um,
Is that something we, of course, have to vote on?
Personally, I'd like to just say that I think it falls into the realm of what we can spend our money on, education.
Yep.
It targets our historic downtown, so that falls into that. And I would think we should at least go $500.
At least.
My first thought was, why don't we do a matching donation up to 1,000? We were gonna spend more than 1,000 on the signs we were gonna do.
Yeah,
This is in place of that.
that's too
He could
good.
easily,
It's a great idea.
it would help him market it
Yep.
if he says, I have a matching donor to up to half of it.
That's perfectly fine.
Brilliant,
That's-
actually, yeah.
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 Mhm.
People love when they can,
So everybody that
Match.
every dollar everybody donates, it doubles for them,
Mhm.
in essence.
yep.
And you're right, that's good for him, when, if he is
think
aware of
it'll-
that, he
it'll
can
make it
say
easier
that
for
too
him.
when he goes and
Yeah.
approaches
Gives them
people.
fuel.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's built-in support.
Sure.
That's great.
Mhm,
Mhm.
mhm.
And
plus
we
to
do,
be able to
we
say-
have $4,657, I don't even know if we spent $100 last year.
We
I
bought
don't know.
flowers.
I think
here.
you-
It was those flowers for
Flowers.
Jackson, and that was $67, so,
I would, my thought is we do at least that.
Yeah, I like your idea,
If-
matching too,
you
it's really.
definitely make the motion if you, I think we're all in agreement.
Okay. I move to do a matching thing for him up to 1,000.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Eric, second by Sarah, to do a matching donation up to $1,000, if I said that correctly,
You did.
for Ethan Schneider's Boy Scout project that will directly benefit Ripon's downtown. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Great idea.
Okay, great.
It's gonna help
Okay.
everybody.
So what I will do is I'll communicate that to him. Our next steps are, we'll show you the comp signage that he's designing with the information in the buildings, and you can see what they're going to look like before they go to manufacture. And I will, I'll also keep you all informed of where he's at in donations, knowing that you're willing to match monies.
Eric, did you know he's gonna put that zapper on there you can hit with your computer?
Zapper.
That's how you,
Yeah.
so you,
Yeah, he said it's.
Yeah, you are.
okay, good, yeah, I love that.
That's a new term, zapper.
It's a
I like
zapper.
Steve, can you remind me, how many buildings is Ethan
5.
focusing on? I just have one caveat, which is,
Mhm.
he's got the 5 picked out and loved everything about it, but if there are other historic businesses downtown that want to take advantage of the momentum, you know, like my building, you know, he doesn't have us selected, but maybe
No.
I wanna chip in to pay for one, so
That's
I
a
can be
great
part of
idea.
the project.
Yes.
Get it made while he's having them made, could that be an option for
Yes,
other
Or,
it is.
buildings?
Sarah, also, he may collect more than 2,000,
Sure,
and then
but
you
I
would
don't
be
wanna
able
take
to-
away from his focus, I'm just so excited about the historical.
I know that they
Well,
talked
provenance
about
of
that.
town.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He's also then donating all his stuff there, he's gonna, everything that he's compiled is going to be put together so we can use that in the future.
Yeah, it'll be a template, and there, we'll
Great.
get you a dollar figure on that.
You know, I just think,
Yeah.
I think progressive business owners and building
Mhm.
owners would love to be a part of this, even if they're not part of his initial priority.
Cause at the historical
Right.
society, they've been saying,
Right,
you know, who will we do next, kind of
Sure.
thing,
Right.
you know, what order you wanna do people in.
right.
I think, John, you're at the top of the list.
Yes, I wanna do
You
one.
better be.
I absolutely do.
I
It'd be great if we get from your building up all the way down.
Keep it
so-
rolling.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be great.
okay, good.
Good job,
Okay.
I'll
Ethan.
put that in our
Yeah,
notes too.
I'll let you know.
Okay, 16 Union Street, the local designation. Last council meeting, it was passed by unanimous vote, so it's gonna be in Ludworth's hands to file it at the Register of Deeds. And he's gonna do it, he's working on it, and I can bring it back again next month. He might not have it done in 2 weeks, but I'll have it on the agenda anyways, I'll have an update for us.
John, where does he take it?
The Fond du Lac County Register of
Oh,
Deeds.
thank you.
Okay, next is Ripon College, quotation marks Merriman House, but there is another house also that, the reason I put this on there is that Ripon College pulled 2 permits for demolition. They're gonna demolish Merriman House, and
Thorn,
it's on Thorn Street. I can't remember the address.
oh, that was 142.
It's right by
Owen
Bowen
Woods.
Woods.
Yeah,
And it's that
Right.
sort of little farm, historic looking
Yeah.
farmhouse between the dormitories.
Yeah, it's got the
Mhm.
one boarded up,
Right.
door on it, right
Yeah.
now,
Right.
yeah.
so what I did after I heard about it, I contacted Steve, he's my go-to guy for letters and words. And he kind of drafted a letter to Ripon College and also like a press release that's gonna come from all of us at, you know, on the Preservation Commission.
Mhm.
So it doesn't look like just John Split said it or Terry Robita said it or whatever, so,
Yes, and that's in response to the article that you guys might have seen in the Ripon Commonwealth Press, where they announced the intention that they didn't know what to do with the Merriman House, but that they were possibly by June going to make a decision to raise the building.
How could they not
So-
know what they wanna do with that building?
We
It is
submitted.
so cool.
Yeah, we submitted the press release, and they came back and said it would be better served as a letter to the editor from you, the board, or, you know, the Ripon Historic Preservation Commission. So John asked that I reword this, and I did. I didn't know how many people were gonna be here tonight, so I only made 5 copies.
I don't need one.
So I'll pass these around. This is a draft. This has not been handed back into the newspaper, but they are awaiting it because they know that it's a letter to the editor. And therefore, it's for you guys to read and decide what you want to do. It's very, you know, politically correct, acknowledging that you're not trying to oversee the college, and that's not your role, and that you're actually overseeing the historic and design integrity of downtown Ripon, but it's a plea for the building, with
Is,
some ideas of what might be done to help save the building.
sorry,
Mhm.
John, is that part of the state historical register?
yes, they're on the state
That's what I
federal
thought. It's a big
register.
deal. I mean,
It
I don't
is,
think,
yeah.
they can't really even tear it down without permission, can they?
They have to contact this, I believe at least the state,
That Jason guy.
yeah.
Cause like with the people with the columns, they had to go through them and
Mhm.
American Legion.
Right. Mhm.
Yeah. I wonder if they know that. Yes.
Yes, they came in and they pulled 2 permits to raise the structures. I notified John, it was, a month and a half, it's been a while since they pulled them. And then I followed up with a letter to the president of the college stating that we understand you pulled the permits, whatever your intentions may be, there's no local designation, because that was chosen not to be pursued a couple years ago. there is a state and federal, so I
Oh,
notified,
cool.
I notified them of that requirement before they, show up with excavators and bulldozers, because, and I don't know, that was received by the college, and they just said, thank you, and that was it.
And so this would be for their consideration, but also, the Ripon Commonwealth Press right now states that they reach 2,800 local households. And it would be visibility for an opinion to say, how can we save this building? And what does it mean to us, and what might we offer without telling anybody what to do? And there's no need to go into the history of the building, because of the Historical Society, a lot of people know the history of the building. It's more of a plea of, how do we not lose one more piece of historic architecture that might be important to the community? And this, by the way, is just a draft, so it can be
Anything you want.
edited, changed, augmented, however you'd like to.
I mean, I could just
pursue it or
get
not
in there and
pursue it.
tear it apart.
And it doesn't have anybody's individual name, it's not
Mhm.
directly
Yeah,
coming
right.
from John, it's
It
coming
ends
from
out there.
you as a board and the committee, with a reminder of
Such a beautiful building.
the structure.
And actually, the one by our house on Thorn isn't dog. It's
No.
really pretty nice also.
Yeah,
Well, I think it's well written and very succinct. It's easy to understand what our goal is as a group.
Yeah, I also like that you brought up examples of what it could become, like office space or whatever.
I must be out of the loop, but I didn't, the last sentence, I didn't realize that,
What's that?
the Horner House.
Oh, yeah, Tom and Debbie Rogers have purchased the John Horner house. John Horner, well, he's on the wall right there,
Mhm.
behind you, bottom left. He is credited with founding Ripon, along with David Mapes, but Horner owned the majority of the land and staged it for the downtown. And that house is in a terrible, terrible
Mhm.
shape. It may not even be structurally sound, and you probably know more about it than I do. But the person that was living there was going to remodel it and renovate it, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, it's,
And was working on one level on the first floor, but only living in one room on the second floor. But it's almost a hoarder situation. You can only walk down a path and go up a staircase.
have you been in there?
No.
And so it's in really, really bad
I
repair,
would
but
love to
Tom
get
and
in there.
Debbie, we know, will do a really great job.
Yeah,
And that
yeah,
it's got a lot of potential, and it's one of the oldest homes in Ripon.
Mhm.
And just an example of something that it takes a commitment and what it's gonna become.
And someone who's passionate about it,
Right,
you know.
yeah.
I don't think they're gonna live there. I think they're gonna flip that house, or they're gonna do something. The Historical Society could own it, but they don't wanna own it. They have enough buildings to keep up with. So it's not designated, it was offered to the Historical Society, and they said, no, thank you. As was the Octagon House, which is a unique architecture, piece of architecture. So,
What was the name of the guy who was gonna build that, large space and put, you know, like art and also, senior center and all that? He was that John, Crazy John,
no, I don't know.
forget his last name. But anyway, he has an eternal fan, he drives around in a Mustang. Nobody? Well, anyway, his son did a presentation to you guys about a building.
Oh,
Well, you're talking
where
about
the
John
American-
Olson.
Yeah,
John
Olson's
Aaron
son.
Olson.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
They're
So-
talking about the American house and the two houses up on the
Yeah,
hill.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I think he'd be good for Merriman. I think he'd do
I don't
that.
know if he's still here. Nobody offered him funding, and I don't know
No,
if
It's
he's
a
here.
huge space.
They left again.
Oh,
Yeah.
No, they were home for Mother's Day, I know that, but they
Yeah.
haven't been around since.
too bad.
Is Merriman just sitting vacant right now as far
It's
as?
been vacant for quite a while,
Has it?
yeah.
Like 10 years,
I think, yeah.
Yeah,
What is
there are
it?
cars parked up there, and occasionally the door is open, like someone's in there, but I don't think it's been inhabited. I think somebody,
As a former Merriman,
Oh, you were?
yeah?
Don't you wanna strap yourself to the front door and say,
no,
don't you
I'm not,
dare?
I've tried to distance myself from
Oh.
this, cause it isn't, it's,
No relation.
about 10 years ago, it was, they moved the fraternity out
Okay.
into
Yeah.
the dorms, and it's been used as pretty much storage ever since. And,
Oh.
there's been very little, work or anything done to the property. And there were discussions, there were lawsuits, there were donations, there was money and the college and the fraternity members could not come to an agreement. So, they moved and now it sits.
It's a shame, really.
Mhm.
It wasn't in great shape when I lived there, but it was fun.
You know, Steve's grandma and grandpa didn't even have a bathroom. They had burning fireplaces for warmth and everything, and that house was really sturdy. But the year that they passed and it was handed over to his brother, it really dilapidated because it didn't have a life in there.
Mhm.
You know, it's
Yeah.
just, so a lot of that's
Yeah.
probably happening too.
It was built in 1873, and it, you know, the things, all of our buildings here need a lot of care,
Yeah,
so.
it's true.
Could we look at the, I don't know the proper name, but the Ripon Historic Preservation Committee? I don't think we're board of directors.
Okay, I didn't know.
I think we would just be considered committee members
Committee?
Or a commission.
or commission, yes,
That's right.
we are commission, yes. So maybe change that to Preservation Commission
Members.
members.
Okay. Yep.
And I just need to know, I mean, we need to talk if everybody's in favor of this, or if they don't want this.
Well, I'm with Sarah. I thought it was well-written and definitely covered everything you had mentioned here.
I think it's part of our duty to express our,
Mhm.
you know, unhappiness that they're gonna be taking down, a historic building.
My only question might be so off base, but the last sentence, I'm not sure it's our business to share that Tom and Debbie Rogers are fixing up that home. Is it relevant to this? You know, is that our business to share?
I can ask that question, it's been talked about a lot around town, so there are a lot of people that are saying that.
Okay.
And I have an email into Debbie,
Well, you know, in her
I'll ask her that.
view.
You know, just, they're pretty private.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
they're
They
pretty
don't-
private.
They don't wanna,
do you think,
You're right,
Karen?
they're not they're definitely not calling
we
attention
can
to themselves,
respect
you're
that,
right.
yeah.
Even when we wanted to give them that award, they didn't want
You
it
could
in
still
the
say
paper.
that
Right,
it's being
yeah.
restored, you just don't have to list
Sure.
who's doing it.
Okay,
It was really more of a
I'll-
pat on the back.
Yeah, I
but-
I'll talk
agree,
to
I
her
feel a little
and
more
find a way
comfortable
to
without
work that.
naming
They
That's,
don't see
person's
that
name.
typically.
Good.
Eric knows that better than anybody, I'm sure.
yeah,
Put
that's
my
wonderful,
name down.
wonderful, yeah.
Okay.
That's great, thank you. Okay, can I just say though, the way I read the article in the paper, time is of the essence. This
Right.
decision may have already been made. I don't know if Adam, you know that, but I think that we need to get this, the paper's waiting.
They are, he called, that Jonathan Bailey called me
Yeah,
Tuesday morning.
yeah, I'll find out, but I think if you guys are in agreement, and I make this
Yesterday
change, or I
morning.
talk to Debbie, I will change this sentence as well. And it really should go to them
Mhm.
quickly, because otherwise it'll be June and the building might be gone.
Mhm.
I'd like to know if they actually contacted those people at
The state,
the state level.
yeah, I don't know if we can, if we could find out by contacting the state and
I
find
mean,
out
I
if,
sure
if they can
hope they
release
do.
that
Mhm.
information, I would
Well,
think.
who was your contact that used to come up here all the time? John
He-
D. Rose?
he,
Yeah, he retired.
Yeah,
Okay.
Rose.
And is there
I can-
another,
I
is
can
there a
put
new
I
contact?
can put a call into Peggy.
Okay,
That'd be great, thank you.
yeah.
Thanks, yeah.
I sent them the letter saying to check, so.
Yeah.
Yay.
And then the photo can be submitted, because we do a lot of articles for the paper, for the Historical Society and other events. And this is just a reminder for anybody in town who does not really even know what this building is.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a great idea because, you know, everybody isn't attending these meetings.
It might not mean anything to certain people, it's kinda tucked in
Yeah,
back there
what's
behind
Peggy's
the college
last name?
anyway.
Peggy Veridian, V, starts with V.
Mhm.
Verdeview,
I'll look.
Is it
Vanderbilt.
Verchek?
Hold on.
I know, it's something, yeah, it starts with a V,
I
for
think
sure.
our other local contacts are Paul Porter, who's a preservation architect, that's who we work with when we're doing a tax credit project.
Yeah.
And then Andrew Stern, he's the historic preservation specialist and compliance officer. So I think Andrew is the person who, I don't know, the person who was here before him. There was a community liaison that was, it wasn't Joe DeRose, but there was another person that we were working with. But, so I think he's in that position working with communities and preservation commissions on that sort of.
It's Peggy Berrigan. She deals with all state, when you apply to become a state historic place, she's the first point of contact.
Thanks, dude.
Veregin.
I guess I would like to move to, go ahead with the letter.
I'll second
With,
it.
you know, with this,
For changes.
the changes that have been,
Okay.
you know, suggested at this point.
So submit it.
And I would say also that, you know, the path that you're on as far as checking with Tom and Debbie would be
Yeah.
whether to include them in this,
Yeah.
letter or not.
Okay.
The right way of going about that.
Okay, will do.
Okay, good. So we have a motion from Eric, a second by Kathy Lee, to submit this letter to the editor. Any more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
If the newspaper comes back, I'll just throw out one contingency. If the newspaper comes back and says, well, a letter to the editor has to come from someone, and I know they do have a rule, I think, on a lot of things, that you can't just submit a letter to the editor without
Put
a
your name
name.
on it,
Mhm.
yeah.
If they say, in the instance it has a name, should we say John Split?
No, I think you should say the commission.
You could say Ripon's Historic Preservation Commission, Eric Polash, Sarah Willett.
Yeah, list all our
Terry-
names.
List the guys that were here, or
Okay.
the people that were here.
Yeah,
Okay.
we wouldn't want you alone to be out.
If they give a hard time about the name, I mean, if it's
Yeah,
signed
I
the
bring it on,
commission-
I don't care.
The commission and everyone who's on the commission is on the Ripon website, so anybody can easily go there.
Right,
Right.
Yeah,
We're all on there anyways.
okay.
yeah. But if they do need, they need a name,
Yeah.
names.
Okay.
Okay, I think that's it. Next meeting date,
Oh, I didn't look.
am I correct that it would be June 1st?
I couldn't-
Yes, I believe
I think
so.
Memorial Day is the 31st
Yes,
on Monday,
yes,
so it would be,
yep, June 1st.
Hmm.
does that work for everybody?
Summer's tough on Eric, he's got those kids. Don't you have those games? All the baseball stuff?
Not baseball, soccer.
Oh, soccer.
Soccer, yeah. So it'd be June
At least the
1st,
school stuff is wrapping up.
6:30 again. And if anybody has anything they want on the agenda, just call me, or you can even call Karen at the desk if something comes up quick.
You know, let me just ask, Craig, didn't you submit awnings for approval tonight
Yeah, that went to,
for June 1st?
yeah.
It'll have to, because we didn't get it on the agenda in time. The agenda was already out.
Okay.
If I could also mention, if you haven't seen the project that Ken had brought to the commission 2 meetings ago, or a month ago, whatever. Ken Schmick, who has that building at 129 East Jackson, Ken's doing a phenomenal job.
Oh,
He did
yeah.
chip all of the plaster off the back of the building,
Mhm.
disposed all the stone. He's about 2/3 of the way done with the tuck pointing. After that meeting, I met with him and we talked about water formulas.
Oh, yeah.
There's good things and bad things, and everyone uses Portland cement. So he did some research, and he's using a straight lime and sand mixture with no Portland cement, so it's kind of like old school.
That's
Yeah,
really
that's
cool.
So he's, and then in front of the building, we did talk about not sandblasting. Sandblasting, he didn't realize that can actually damage the bricks, so he's looking into methods and trying to find out like what the chemical companies are that do that kind of thing, so, he's really doing the right thing, so
That's
if
great.
you see him, tell him thanks.
I wonder, did he get an article in the paper about that building that he's restoring?
I don't know if it, was it? Or-
Yeah,
or-
I don't
there was,
remember.
there was
It
a
might have been
photograph,
last week.
and, yeah, it was
There
in the
was?
paper maybe 3 weeks ago.
I was gonna say, definitely
He had a
should
photograph of
mention
him on the inside.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you, Craig.
What's the address on that again?
That's 129 East
Jackson.
Jackson.
Okay.
East Jackson.
He's also keeping the roof outside of the building that may have been an old elevator shaft, and that's being incorporated into one of the apartments.
Oh,
So
wow.
He's doing some cool things,
That sounds cool.
in addition to,
Remember when we bought that place, we had to walk 13 floors?
Mhm.
Ridiculous. It's such a great loft though.
He has a sign in the window for lease, for
Mhm.
space, which, yeah.
yeah, there aren't many spaces left downtown.
Mhm.
Yay!
There's two.
Okay.
Okay, I need a motion for adjournment.
I move to adjourn.
Motion by Eric,
No second?
second by Terry. All in favor say aye.
Ah.
Opposed? Motion carries, we're adjourned.